Hello, in our Lent meditations today, we're going to be looking at a poem. And Simon Lilly is going to read it for us in a moment, and then Stephen Green is going to be reflecting on it. But first, I'll let Stephen introduce the poem. Stephen, it's good to have you with us. Tell us what we're going to be listening to.
It's by George Herbert, and its title is simply Love.
Love bade me welcome, yet my soul drew back guilty of dust and sin. But quick-eyed love, observing me grow slack from my first entrance in, drew nearer to me, sweetly questioning if I lacked anything. A guest, I answered, worthy to be here. Love said, you shall be he. I, the unkind, ungrateful. Ah, my dear, I cannot look on thee. Love took my hand and smiling did reply, who made the eyes but I? Truth, Lord, but I have marred them. Let my shame go where it doth deserve. And know you not, says love, who bore the blame? My dear, then I will serve. You must sit down, says love, and taste my meat. So I did sit and eat.
Thank you. I think that's a really lovely poem. I've always loved it. It's a very intense personal encounter with God. It's a form of a dialogue, of course, and God isn't named as God in the poem. God is called Love. Love bade me welcome, but my soul drew back. And love is the dialogue counterparty of the individual, the person, the soul, and it's remarkably, in that sense, it gets its theology from John's Gospel and from John's letters. John's Gospel is famous for that very strong sense that God is love and love is of God. And indeed, at one point in one of the letters, it says love is God. And so you have that very clear scriptural rootedness of this. And I think it's also a remarkable poem because it's clearly echoing another couple of things about the Gospels. One is the prodigal son. This dialogue is a very strong, you have this very strong sense of the individual's own consciousness of his unworthiness to be invited into the presence of love, to be invited to the banquet that love is preparing. This is the prodigal son all over. Not that the prodigal son is named in the poem, but it's there in the background.
I mean, what's lovely for me about it is that the sense that he's on the doorstep and he's being invited into this extraordinary sort of banquet. It reminds me of the verse in, is it Song of Songs, where it says he calls me to his banqueting table and his banner over me is love.
Yeah.
But you still got that resistance, haven't you? You've still got something in him that says, I'm not worthy. I can't come in. But love's drawing him.
Yeah.
Towards the table.
One of the metaphors in this poem that's very strong is the notion of sight. Quick-eyed love, observing me grow slack from my first entrance in, drew nearer, sweetly questioning if I lacked anything. Quick-eyed love. And then later on he says, who made the eyes but I? God says to him when he says, I, the unkind, the ungrateful, ah, my dear, I cannot look on thee. And God replies, love replies, who made the eyes but I? But he doesn't give up because he thinks, the truth, Lord, but I have marred them. Let my shame go where it doth deserve. Prodigal son again. And know you not, says love, who bore the blame? Clear what that's referring to. my dear, then I will serve, he says. So finally, he kind of gets to being drawn in to the extent of saying, I'm prepared to be there as a servant. I will stand and wait. And love still doesn't give up. Love still says, you must sit down, says love, and taste my meat. And finally, that last line, there's no riposte. He doesn't say anything. He just says, so I did sit and eat, as if that's a summary of the whole drawing in of the person who feels so unworthy, who feels so inappropriate, who feels so uncomfortable to begin with, drawn in, and in the end gives in, as it were, to the overwhelming attractiveness of this love, which is unconditional and saying, just come in and sit and eat. I think it is a marvelous poem.